Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of Drunk Discussions. I am flying alone on this one, and it's probably going to be a short episode. So without further ado, let's get this shit started.
This podcast is part of the OIWP podcasting network.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Ocho is back in your life, and I am going solo on this one. And this is going to probably be a very brief episode, probably about 30 minutes tops. I would say 30 to 40 minutes. I have not done an episode in a month because I took a trip to Disney World, and I will get into that in just a bit. I've also been working on a new project for Patreon, which hasn't gone exactly according to how I've planned it out. So a lot of my time has been spent trying to fix that over the last week and a half. So that's why I haven't recorded a new episode in the 2 weeks since I've been back from Disney World. Having said that, if you would like to check out the new project that I'm working on, please head over to the Patreon page and feel free to check that out. It's patreon.com/drunkdiscussions. Like I said, the first episode did not go according to plan, so it's really not the best quality, but if you guys still want to check it out, I would greatly appreciate that. It's on Patreon for free because I know the quality is so bad, so I have put it up on Patreon for free. I figure that the issue is I need a better computer. I need a desktop computer with a better processor. Right now, I'm recording off of my laptop, and the processor just isn't enough to handle the video recording for the Patreon project that I'm working on. So I need I need to get a desktop computer in order to fix that, but I don't have the money for that right now, unfortunately. But if you would like to help me out and help support the show financially so I can get better equipment and make improvements for the show, you can obviously become a patron on Patreon. You can help support the show by buying some merch, shop.spreadshirt.com/drunkdiscussions. You can also make a one-time donation to our PayPal page, paypal.me/drunkdiscussions. Of course, the best way you can help support the show for free is to help us grow by listening to us. Obviously, if you're listening to the audio portion of this podcast, you already know where to find us. If you're watching the video portion of this on YouTube, please let people know where they can find the audio portion. You can find the audio podcasts on most major podcasting platforms, including but not limited to Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Samsung Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and of course the main source of uploading is Podbean, drunkdiscussions.podbean.com, and as I just mentioned, there is a video podcast of this on YouTube as well, so if you want to watch the video podcast and you're just listening to the audio, you can head on over to YouTube, check out the video of this, look for Drunk Discussions in the search bar on YouTube. I'll also have a link in the description box down below so you can check it out there. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I would greatly appreciate that. If you're listening to this on any podcasting platform, the audio version, please subscribe to the show on whatever podcasting platform you're listening to this on. Please give the show a comment, a rating. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, but please be constructive with your criticism. Don't just be a dick. Don't just leave awful comments to be a troll and a dick. But if you do have some valid criticisms, I would be willing to listen to them. Having said that, before we get into the show, there is a drinking game. So if you're a first-time listener or watcher, there is a drinking game. So anytime throughout the episode when I say really strong, take a drink of whatever you have in front of you. I happen to be drinking a Corona Extra. You can't see that because of the background. There we go. Corona Extra from a can doesn't have quite the same taste as Corona Extra from a bottle, but Corona Extra from a can. So anytime throughout the podcast when I say really strong, take a drink of whatever you have in front of you. It does not have to be an alcoholic beverage. I realize that people struggle with alcoholism and sobriety, and some people just don't like to drink, period, and that's okay. So if you don't have an alcoholic beverage, you can still take a drink of water, juice, milk, whatever, energy drink, whatever you happen to have in front of you. That way you can still participate if you choose to do so. With that out of the way, I do want to talk about a couple of things today. Like I said, this is going to be a short episode, but I did go on another trip to Disney World. It was my second trip there. I went in September with my buddy Josh, and this time I went with Josh's sister, and Josh's cousin, who happens to be one of my best friends from high school, and his daughter. So it was a group of us, but I kind of did my own thing down there because, you know, they also had their cousins who I didn't know join them as well. So I wanted to give them some time with their cousins. And I also knew that I wanted to do my own things that was going to be different from theirs. And thanks to Josh taking me down there in September and sort of giving me the lay of the land in September, I kind of knew what to do on my own down there this time. So I knew what I wanted to see. So we would hit up different parks and we would meet later on in the days that we were down there. They were down there for, I think, 10 days. They were down there from, the 18th to the 28th, I believe. And I was down there from the 9th. Well, I left on the 19th late at night. I had a 9 p.m. flight out of Toronto, and I landed in Orlando at just after midnight. So, no, sorry. I had an 8 p.m. flight out of Toronto, and I arrived in Orlando just before midnight. I think it was around 11:30. So technically, I don't count my first day there until the 20th. So technically, I was there from the 20th until the 27th. So I was there for about a week. And the first couple of days, they did Universal Studios. And I really, really want to do Universal Studios. But I got laid off from my job in December. And even though I got a severance package from them, Orlando was still too expensive and wasn't feasible for me from a financial point of view to do this time around. So they were down in Universal the first couple of days. I met them for 2 of the days down at Universal to grab lunch and to grab dinner and to do an escape room. So on the 20th, I actually had a job interview. So I had a virtual interview because I wasn't able to make it in person, obviously. Unfortunately, I found out at the end of the trip I did not get that job, which was unfortunate because it was a job that I really wanted. But I'm not going to go into details of what the job was or who I would have been working for. But it was a job that I really, really wanted and unfortunately didn't get. But I still did everything I could to put myself out there for the job. I obviously interviewed while I was on vacation, which was not a problem because one of the great things about the pandemic was that it's opened up this world of virtual meetings, online meetings through Zoom, through Google Meet, through Microsoft Teams. So there's ways to work around in-person meeting or in-person interviews if you're not able to do them. And thankfully, the job that I interviewed for was able to accommodate that, but unfortunately, I still didn't get the job. But so on the 20th, I did the job interview, and then later in the afternoon, I met Josh and everybody else down at Universal to get something to eat. We had dinner together, and then we went back to their hotel because they were staying at a hotel on resort at Universal. And we had a couple drinks. A couple of them went swimming, and we sat by the poolside area. Josh, his sister, and I, we sat poolside. We didn't join them swimming, but we sat poolside and had some drinks, and then we roasted some marshmallows by a fire later in the evening. It was a great time. It was a fantastic time. And then the next day, I did the Disney theme parks. They were still at Universal. I met them later on in the day at Universal because we were doing one of the Universal Studios. Oh, no. No, that's right. The 20th was when we were supposed to do the Universal escape room. That's why I met them on the 20th, because it wasn't just for dinner. It was going to be escape room. But then one of the people in the group wasn't feeling well, so we postponed we postponed the escape room. We were able to switch our reservation for the Universal escape room to the Monday. So on the Saturday, they did Universal again, and then I ended up going to the Disney theme park. So they ended up doing 4 days at Disney, and I ended up doing 5 days at Disney. But they also did, I think, 3 days at Universal, maybe 4 days at Universal. I can't remember which. And then Sunday was the first day that we all sort of met together for the Walt Disney theme parks. We still did our own thing during the day because they wanted to do different parks from what I wanted to do. But we met during the day, and we had a great time. I think the Sunday was the night we ended up seeing Fantasmic, which was just an outstanding, tremendous show. I had a great time at that. Monday was an off day. We all needed a rest. That was supposed to be our rest day, but we ended up going back to Universal to do the escape room. Universal has 2 escape rooms. They have a Jurassic World themed escape room, and they have a Back to the Future themed escape room. We did the Jurassic World. It was a lot of fun. I really want to get back and do the Back to the Future escape room because the Jurassic World one was amazing. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we all did theme parks again. Again, I sort of did my own thing because the Tuesday is when the other cousins of theirs that I don't know came down. So the first day, I believe they were going to start their day at Animal Kingdom, but I think they ended up switching that to Magic Kingdom. And I started my day at Hollywood Studios, and then we eventually all met together later on at Epcot. And I just do want to point out that on the Sunday, we did try to get to Splash Mountain because that was the last day Splash Mountain was open at Disney World. And unfortunately, the lineups were way too long. I think the shortest line that I saw the entire day was the shortest wait time I saw the entire day was like 180. I think 145 minutes was the shortest wait time, but most of the wait times were over 180 minutes. So 3-hour wait times for Splash Mountain. It was crazy. From what I read online later that night, like the final, because they tried to accommodate everybody that was in line for Splash Mountain before the park closed at 9 o'clock. And I think because of the wait times, from what I read, the last ride for Splash Mountain to launch for the night was at like 1 a.m. So the park closed at 9, and the final ride for Splash Mountain wasn't until 1 a.m. because they were trying to get everybody who was in line a chance to go on Splash Mountain because it was the last day. And it's, of course, going to be renovated and become a Princess and the Frog themed ride, which I'm looking forward to. I want to go back once that's all done and check it out. But yeah, so the wait times for Splash Mountain were really strong. And there was absolutely no chance that we were going to get on it. Especially when, like I said, one of Josh's cousins, who I've been friends with since high school, had his daughter with him, and his daughter's only 6 years old. There's no way a 6-year-old is waiting 3 hours in line for Splash Mountain. There's just no way. Like I said, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we did Disney parks again. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I finally got to do Ratatouille. When Josh and I were there in September, we did not get a chance to do Ratatouille. We wanted to do Ratatouille, but the wait times for Ratatouille are so incredibly long. Like, I don't think, when we were there in September, I don't think there was a day where we were at Epcot and the line for Ratatouille was below 2 hours. But when I was there this time, I think it was the Tuesday. It might have been the Wednesday. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but I think it was the Tuesday. I noticed that the wait time for Ratatouille was fluctuating anywhere between 45 minutes to 70 minutes. I'm like, okay, we're gonna try this because it's under 2 hours. I'm gonna get in line. Anyways, I had a couple of drinks beforehand, a couple of beers in the Canadian Pavilion. So I got in line, and the line wait time said, I believe when I got in, it was 50 minutes. About 10-15 minutes of me being in line, they started making an announcement that due to unforeseen circumstances, the wait times are now longer than expected. But they didn't say how long the wait time had changed to. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's changed from 50 minutes, maybe it's been pushed back 10, 15 minutes. So a 60, 65 minute wait. That's fine, I can do that. They keep making these announcements the entirety of the time that I'm in line. And I'm checking my watch, and now it's about 75, 80 minutes since I got into the start of the line. And I've never been on this ride before. So I didn't know how much longer I had to wait in this line before I got on the ride. And again, I had had a couple of drinks. So at this point, I really had to go to the bathroom. And I was at a point in line where I was close to an exit. So I just headed out the exit so I could find the nearest washroom. I didn't realize the exit that, I don't know why they marked it as an exit when it leads to the back lot of Disney. It took me to the back lot. I didn't realize I was going to go to the back lot. So I'm in the back area behind Disney World, behind where the ride is. And fortunately, I see some staff out there, and they're throwing out garbage and stuff. And I explained the situation to them, and I'm like, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. This is what happened. I was waiting in line, had to bail out because I went to the washroom. Didn't realize that the exit came out here. So the employees laughed a little bit, and they're like, just go this way. Just go right around the corner. There's a gate, which is supposed to be a cast member only entrance. They're like, just go through. You'll be back in the park. I'm like, cool. Thank you. So I got back into the park, and thankfully that entrance was right near a washroom too. So I ended up going to the washroom, and I headed back towards the Ratatouille line. And at this point, the line is now over 120 minutes. So I know I'm supposed to be meeting Josh, his sister, his cousin, and the other cousins that I don't know. I know I'm supposed to be meeting them for dinner a little later on, like within an hour or so, right? So there's really no point in going back to Ratatouille when I know I'm supposed to be meeting them in an hour and the lineup is 2 hours. So anyways, I go to find somewhere to sit down just to text Josh to see what's up, see where they are, where they want to meet. So I end up sitting outside the Beauty and the Beast sing-along. There's like a little area there, a ledge that people were sitting on, and there was a free space. So I sat down. And it was about 10, 15 minutes to the next show for the Beauty and the Beast sing-along. So there were cast members outside just trying to, get the line, just try to bring people in and to do crowd control for the lineup that was already there. And so I'm just sitting there, minding my own business on my phone, trying to text Josh. And another guest of the park comes up to the cast members and asks them where the Ratatouille ride is. And one of the cast member tells her, if you just go around the corner and just walk this, explains to her where it is. And she's like, do you know how long the wait for the ride is going to be? The cast member was like, no, unfortunately, I don't know what the wait time is for the other rides. And he tries to tell her, you can download the Disney World app on your phone, and then that gives you all the wait times. And I kind of overheard the conversation, and I already have my phone out. So I'm like, hey, I got my phone out already. If you want, I'll check the times for you. So I go into the app, I check the time, and now the wait times drop down to, I think it was 85 minutes. So I'm like, the wait time's about 85 minutes. And so the lady says, no, I really don't feel like waiting that long. So she ended up leaving and going in the opposite direction to try and find another ride that wasn't going to be as long of a wait. So the cast member comes up to me afterwards and says, hey, thank you for helping out the fellow guest. He's like, have you been on the Ratatouille ride yet? And I explained the situation. I told him, no, I was trying to, and this is what happened. I ended up having to leave because I had to go to the washroom, and the lineup's too busy. And he's like, do you have anyone else with you? I'm like, no, right now it's just me. I'm actually waiting on a couple of friends that I'm supposed to be meeting in an hour. That's why I'm not going back into line, because it's going to be too long, and I'm going to miss out meeting my friends. He's like, okay, cool. He didn't say, okay, cool, but he was like, okay, because you were willing to help out another guest, I'm going to help out you. I'm going to help you out. He's like, follow me. So he starts walking me back towards the Ratatouille ride. And he ended up helping me get through onto the ride through the lightning lane, which is basically the express pass lane. So I didn't really have to wait that long at all. I think maybe 5 minutes tops before I got on the ride. So I wish I had have gotten that cast member's name. I'm hugely, hugely thankful to him and his help, because I don't think I would have had another chance to go on the Ratatouille ride if it wasn't for him. Because I was not going to be waiting in line for another 85 minutes just to have them keep pushing back the wait times again and then miss out on dinner with Josh and everybody else. So whoever you are, if you happen to see this or hear this podcast, just know I greatly appreciate what you did for me. Your kindness it is not unappreciated. I've already droned on for about 30 minutes, which is longer than I expected to. So there were some other topics that I was going to cover that I'm probably not going to get into. I was going to talk about the upcoming Elimination Chamber, but I think I'm just going to let that slide. But I do want to say that baseball is going to be back soon. By the time this podcast releases, I think spring training should already be underway. Yeah, so this episode will release on the 17th of February, and spring training, I believe, starts on the 14th. That's when everyone starts reporting. So spring training will be underway, and then the games, I think, start the following week. I think the first games start on the 20th. I could be wrong about that. I'd have to double check. But anyways, yeah, I'm really excited about baseball being back. The Jays quietly had a really strong offseason, I think. I know a lot of Jays fans, myself included, are still in pain and shock from that wild card series against Seattle in the postseason last year. We lost the first game. We should have won the second game. It was a blowout. We were up 8-1, and then we ended up fucking things up and losing, and then the Mariners ended up sweeping the series, and then they ended up going on to get swept by the Astros. But man, that second game, it still stings. It's still hard for a lot of Blue Jays fans to talk about. That collision between Bo and Springer in the outfield, and I think it was the 8th inning, may have been the 9th, I think it was the 8th, that allowed Seattle to tie the game and then score the go-ahead runs. But like I said, the Jays have quietly, I think, had a decent offseason. They've brought in Kevin Kiermaier, who he's already won a lot of the Jays fan base over. I'm still not a huge fan of Kevin Kiermaier. I have a lot of years of hatred built up towards him from when he was playing against us on the Rays, and some of the things that he did on the Rays that I'm still kind of irritated by. I know a lot of Jays fans have forgiven him. I'm still not in that group, though. But obviously, I hope he helps the team win. He's going to be taking over the center field duties this year, and George Springer is going to shift over from center field to, is it right field? Yeah, is it right field he's taking over, or left field? One of the corner outfield positions. I think right field. Our starting five still isn't the strongest. Like, our fifth starter still isn't decided. It could be Mitch White, could be Yusei Kikuchi until Ryu gets back from Tommy John in, hopefully, I think it's June. He's expected to be back. So hopefully once he's back, he'll help out the rotation a little bit. But we did go out and sign Chris Bassett in the offseason. We have Jose Barrios, which a lot of people are hoping he has a bounce-back season after last year. He was so inconsistent last year. It wasn't that he was super bad all year. There were times where he was just super bad and then really super good. There was no middle ground. He either had an excellent game or he completely shit the bed. So even if he isn't like a fucking Cy Young candidate this year, if he can at least be more consistent this year than he was last year, consistent in a good way, hopefully, then we should be okay. We also still have Gossman and Manoah to shore up the starting four. So Bassett, Barrios, Manoah, and Gossman. We did lose some fan favorites over the offseason. We got rid of Lourdes Gurriel and Teoscar Hernandez. And of course, one of the biggest things from the Jays offseason is the renovations that they're doing at Skydome. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing the renovations that they've done at the Skydome. I've been, obviously, like a lot of other Jays fans, I've been seeing them post videos and images and stuff on social medias, and I'm really, really excited for it. I know a lot of people, myself included, wanted a new stadium, a new ballpark, but that's very, very hard to build in Toronto right now, especially when there's so many other areas of the city that are under construction for various other reasons. A lot having to do with the public transit system still not being completed. That's been under work for fucking the last decade, but I digress. But yeah, I'm really, really excited for the baseball season. And like I said, I do want to keep this episode short. I'm at about 35 minutes. I do want to talk more baseball, but I'm going to wait until Rob's back on and hopefully some other guests. There are other people that I want to get on this podcast to talk a little bit of baseball. So I'll talk more baseball in a future episode. But before I go, I do want to say I did list off at the beginning. I made a really strong list of all the places you can go to help support the show. But one venture that I am going to be getting into and trying out is OnlyFans. I will not be posting the content that you think I'll be posting on there. I do have something a little bit different up my sleeve for the OnlyFans. So by the time this episode comes out, hopefully I'll have a post or two up on OnlyFans. And if so, I will post the link in the description below. I'll also post it on the social medias. So be sure you're following on social medias because I forgot to shout those out earlier. Follow on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at DrunkDPodcast or Facebook.com/drunkdiscussions. But yeah, I like I said, I'm currently out of work. I've been searching, I've been handing in resumes. So unfortunately, so far, I'm not having a lot of luck finding anything. I've had a lot of resumes rejected, and I've only had the one interview, which unfortunately, like I said, I didn't get the job for. And that was one I really wanted to. But yeah, so I've decided I'm going to try opening up an OnlyFans and posting some content on there. And I'm not expecting to get huge numbers out of that, but I'm hoping it can at least help me out a little bit until I can find another job. And like I said, I am working on other projects. I'm trying to do more on Patreon. It's just not going as I had planned at the moment. But yeah, so if you want to check out the OnlyFans, like I said, it should be running by the time this comes out, and I will post the links in the description box down below. If you want to check out the Patreon stuff, go to patreon.com/drunkdiscussions. The first episode of this new project is definitely going to be free. The second episode probably is going to be free as well. And then after that, regardless of how good or bad the content is, it's going to be going behind a paywall because I can't just keep giving stuff away for free, unfortunately, as much as I'd like to. And then, yeah, if you want to become a patron, go to patreon.com/drunkdiscussions. Check the stuff out over there. If you want to help support the show, if you're able to help support the show financially by buying some merch, you can go to shop.spreadshirt.com/drunkdiscussions, or you can go to paypal.me/drunkdiscussions and make a one-time donation. But yeah, the merch on Spreadshirt, I'm working on getting some brand new merch out in the next couple of weeks. But right now, we still have a bunch of the old merch up there, and hopefully soon there should be some promotions going on. I know there was sort of a promotional freeze with Spreadshirt during the Christmas holidays, end of year, but the promotion should be back up and running soon if they aren't already. So keep checking on Spreadshirt, shop.spreadshirt.com/drunkdiscussions to see what promotions are going on. And like I said off the top of the show, the best way to help support the show for free, and it would be really strong of you to do so, is just by letting other people know where they can find this show. They can watch it right here on YouTube. Let them know to go to YouTube and search Drunk Discussions in the search bar. Or if they want to listen to the audio version of the podcast, the show is available on most major podcasting platforms, as I said before, including but not limited to Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Samsung Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, And of course, the main source of uploading is Podbean, drunkdiscussions.podbean.com. And please, if you are, wherever you're listening or watching this podcast on, please leave a comment, give a rating, subscribe. That's the best way to help the show grow and support it for free, and I would greatly appreciate it. It would be a really strong move for you guys to do that. With that being said, I am now at 42 minutes, so I'm going to cut things off here. I'm going to try to edit it down to about 35 minutes. So, as always, guys, whether you're listening or watching this in the morning, the afternoon, the evening, whatever time of day it is, where you are, when you're listening or watching this, I appreciate you guys checking the show out. I thank you guys for checking the show out. And I will talk to you guys again, hopefully, very, very soon. Bye.